Testing, testing. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. All right, let's get this up and rolling. All right, let's jump over to next screen, which is trade. We'll jump over to our studio. There we go. All right, let's do that. So we got the disclaimer up there. Here is what the here's what I'm seeing on my watch list. Leading the day, we have, or this is the watch list for the low floats. Leading the day, we have MSPR, EZGO, LGCL, SDST, SMX, APLM, and then below that is kind of like things that are in the red. So we'll focus on these top 6: MSPR, EZGO, LGCL, and SDST and SMX, to see if they have any catalysts or any reason to continue higher. So let's go ahead and get into that. Let me switch this over. Main. Let's start with our MSPR. What is you? Okay, so it looked like it popped a little bit on Friday, and then a bigger pop here. This is a cheaper stock, so it does fall out of scope for me. 44 cents with 103 million shares traded. Behind that, it is EZGO. I'm not going to waste too much time doing research on something I'm not going to trade. So I'm looking at these top ones and, you know, going on to the next one, getting on to the ones that are a little bit higher price. LGCL up $3.33, up 21%. Let's go look at that. What is this one got going? LGCL. All right, Lucas GC Limited, though through its subsidiaries, provides online agent-centric human capital management services based on platform as a service in the People's Republic of China. So this is a Chinese company. Let me go ahead and notate that. So it's IT software application company. So it's got 319 employees. Software application. It was founded in 2011. Okay, so yeah, notate all of that. And let's go on to the next one, which is SDST. Did a little bit of a round trip, came up from 439 all the way up here to 604s and bunched back down to the $5. Let me see what this one is. SDST. Woo, getting some popping over here on this one. All right, so let's see. For its profile, it says Stardust Power develops battery-grade lithium products in the United States. The company is developing a lithium refinery in Muskogee, Oklahoma, for producing battery-grade lithium carbonate Stardust Power Inc. was founded in 2022 and is headquartered in Greenwich, Connecticut. Okay. All right. We'll definitely put that one on the watch for batteries. So let me go ahead and take this one, bring it on down. Okay. And we'll go a little bit deeper into these in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and that one seems like the most interesting profile, but I don't know if it has catalyst. SMX is another one that was up. Well, it was up 12%, but now it's only up 6%. Let me go and look at what happened to it. $2.15. So this one is called Security Matters Public Limited Company, provides brand protection, authentication, and track and trace technology for the counterfeit market. Its proprietary market system embeds a permanent or removable mark on solid, liquid, or gaseous objects or materials. The company's solutions comprise physical and chemical marker system coupled with a reader and connected to a blockchain digital platform for application in process tracing, authentication, and sustainability and circular economics. Okay. So this one's out of Dublin, Ireland. We've seen a couple out of Dublin, Ireland that have and they haven't been that impressive for sure. So I'm going to focus in on the I'm going to focus in on SDTS, and let me see what APLM is. APLM. Apollo Mix, Inc., a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company, engages in the discovery and development of oncology therapies to harness the immune system and target specific molecular pathways to inhibit cancer. The the company's products portfolio includes all of these long names that I'm not going to pronounce and things for the treatment of non-small cell lung cancer and other solid tumors. It has a oral active small molecule multiple tyrosine. Okay, that's a lot. All right. But yeah, this is a biotech company that is APLM. So the ones that are closest to the prices that I like are SDST, and APLM. We just got to see what they want to do. And now let's do a little bit deeper dive into the charting now that we know what they are. And this is a biotech for small cell cancers. Let me mark that as, so this is biotech, small cell cancer. It was founded in 2015. And it's out of Foster City, California. Foster City, California. All right. So there is what we got there. Let me activate and move this over so I can see it. Okay. So that one, we'll see how that does. SDTS. Oh my goodness, what a round trip. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of times, if they're good, they're going to give you a chance to participate. If they're not, it's just like, oh, okay. We got another one popping up though. SHPH. This one again, we need to look into it. Let's see what it's talking about on this morning, or what its profile is talking about, and then we'll do a little deeper dive into it. SHPH. Shuttle Pharmaceuticals. Good morning, Hebrew. Let's see what we got here. So Shuttle Pharmaceuticals Holdings, Inc., a clinical stage pharmaceutical company, develops novel therapies to cure cancer. So this is another cancer type one. The company is developing, that word, and an oral halogenated pyridine. Oh my goodness. All right. preclinical, blah blah blah. Let's see for breast. Okay, so for use in the trends. So this is breast cancer and okay. So let's mark this one down. Breast cancer. So let me see. Cancers, but the main keyword in here was breast cancer. Okay, and then it's got it's founded in 2012 out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. Okay. All right. So we'll see what these want to do. We'd love for something to kind of hold up, but MSPR continued to suck up volume, so a lot of volume on this one, and it's a super cheap one, which is telling me, hey, Monday morning is a little shaky. Now we are into the month of November, so still looking for more news on what's going to happen with SNAP and the government involvement as far as people being in food lines and trying to get whatever sustenance that they can that is being provided. So let's continue to look through. All right, so we looked through most of these. None of them are actually holding up the prices, so I'm kind of unsure about them. But we took some notes on them. We'll see if anything else can actually hold up. Let's jump over to some news now. All right, today we have Governor Cook speaking the economic outlook and monetary policy. A Federal Reserve Governor, Lisa Cook, right, and she's going to be in Washington, D.C. On the outlook for the economy and monetary policy. Then tomorrow we have Vice Chair Bowman at the 2025 Santander International Banking Conference in Madrid, Spain. Then we got 11/6. We got a couple speakers on this beginning week for sure. So we'll be looking out for all of that. Let's go ahead and jump over here. So we got top of the biggest thing we see is Trump. China and others can't have Nvidia's top AI chips. President Trump said AI giant Nvidia's most advanced chips will be reserved for U.S. companies. Okay, so that's probably going to stir the pot a little bit. Berkshire cash sets record as profit rises ahead of Buffett exit. Yardani warns too many bulls put stocks on cusp of a pullback. Why Goldman Sachs CEO isn't buying the AI jobs freak out. Irene jumps from signing $9.7 billion deal with Microsoft for Nvidia chips. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and notate that. Irene. See if they're sucking up some volume. Looks like they are with 5 million shares traded out so far. Of course, I might keep Amazon up here on the. Yeah, I'm gonna keep Amazon up there as well. See if it sucks up volume. We need to see what the large caps are doing, who's sucking up volume, and what's their reasoning to see how the reactions or how the concentration will be in the small caps. Because if it's too concentrated in the large caps, small caps are gonna die. Let's see. Berkshire, boom, boom, boom. Irene, Tesla to buy 2 billion of ESS batteries from Samsung SID. Okay, so Tesla is in the top news. See how they're doing. Big oil CEOs warn Trump's Russia sanctions will hit supplies. Okay, Tesla sales plunge again in some European markets in October. Okay, that was last month. Microsoft, this is the latest news. Microsoft to invest over 15 billion in UAE, secures US export licenses for AI chips. So Microsoft is in the top news. I will notate that. and we'll see if volume pours into there. Let's see, Xanadu Quantum to go public via 3.6 billion SPAC deal. Okay, so I don't Xanadu. We'll come back and look at that. U.S. allows Microsoft to ship NVIDIA AI chips. Okay, so that's NVIDIA up here as well. Oops, I typed that wrong. NVIDIA. Okay. Beautiful women, outdoors, and drivers, truck cybersecurity risk, and I don't even know what that's talking about. All right, Wall Street futures rise on AI optimism. U.S. China trade truce. China seeks U.S. wheat after 1-year hiatus in purchases. Okay, so China is starting to. They on Friday they confirmed that the China was purchasing soybeans. Now they're looking into wheat. So this is good for agriculture. This is very good for agriculture. So be on the lookout for those agricultural stocks if they do end up arising, especially in the small caps. Oil swings as OPEC braces for demand slowdown and surplus ahead. Okay, so that is looking pretty good. All right. Okay. MSPR still shooting to the moon, man. What's going on with MSPR? So it's at 155% up, and we're just not seeing much competition with that rise. But we are getting the ideas down here. Let's see. SHPH hit a top of 480, was not able to crack that 5. SDST pretty much gave up the ghost as well, did a full round trip. Big blast up to 605s and then came all the way back down to 450s. Okay, so more news. Let's get into it.
Been talking gold, but I also want your I want to end on this because we've been talking gold, but I also want your take on silver. Let me make sure I get this right, Ben. You say silver could hit 100 by end of next year. What's driving that view?
So silver is interesting because now that's at the very top end, but silver is interesting because it has a really robust industrial use case. So it's solar, it's the electrification build out. So we've seen, AI has been kind of the dominant theme for the last year. That's spilled over into copper as part of the electrification build out, even things like uranium and nuclear. Silver is now part of that. And if you look at China's version of their big beautiful bill, a lot of that is solar build out, which is going to need physical silver. And there's a rush on physical silver right now. It's very hard to get. In fact, even in one of our funds, we're expecting to take delivery in the December contract. We're starting to trade physical because there's more paper contracts than physical, and this is similar to what we saw in the 1980s. So the silver is facing its own supply squeeze because of that physical industrial demand. But again, it's now part of this currency debasement trade that is, again, a kind of a multi-year, multi-decade uptrend.
Yeah, look at that chart. Ben, great to see you as always. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Josh.
Okay, silver.
Well, stocks trading at new highs here, but the next big test will come with big tech earnings this week. Our next guest notes AI as a whole has contributed to market frothiness. For more, let's get to Monticello Capital Partners Managing Partner and CIO Ali Melli. Ali, it is great to see you. Let's start there. Talk about AI, because NVIDIA, of course, has the big show in our nation's capital today. They made all kinds of news, Ali. The stock popped about 5% in today's trade. You say here, I thought this was interesting, talk about AI, Ali. You say, very promising in boosting productivity, but you think valuations have gotten ahead of market reality, and you say you see risks. So let's stop there. Where do you see the risks, Ali?
The risk that I see is mainly in valuation and accounting. So let's take a step back. The average leasing price for an NVIDIA H100 GPU at the beginning of 2024 was $10 per hour. Now that number has dropped to $2 per hour. So you see an 80% depreciation in equivalent of rent that you can pay, or you can, if you are an owner of a GPU, this is how much you can earn for renting out your GPUs. On the other hand, if you look at the depreciation curve, a lot of the buyers of NVIDIA chips use 4-year, 5-year depreciation. So they only depreciate that by 20% per year. Now, where does that translate into corporate earnings? That means that you get exaggerated corporate earnings in the sense that you get the revenue growth upfront, but the depreciation is back-ended. If you look at the hyperscalers in the past year, they have spent around $400 billion on AI-related expenditures. Their total revenue growth, whether that was from AI or other sources, was only $200 billion. So if they were to actually depreciate the AI expenditure and look at it as an upfront expense, that would have been a loss. Now, because they amortize the cost that they are putting right now over a 5-year period, they are showing income growth on top of revenue growth. But the question is that revenue growth sustainable? And if they actually were going to use a depreciation curve that captures the economic reality of it's a new technology, the same way that like a used cell phone depreciates a lot in value. If you use the same depreciation logic, if you look at Moore's law, for example, if they were to depreciate their assets by 50, 60% over a 2-year period, I think a lot of their earnings would be significantly lower.
Okay.
Obviously, we've seen a huge growth in ETFs. Mutual funds still dominate, but ETFs have definitely grown a lot. But they exist as two sort of separate but parallel entities, which I didn't entirely realize. In other words, a mutual fund and an ETF can't be like two shares of the same core thing, right? So how does it work now?
Yes, so right now ETFs and mutual funds are very separate structures, but what we are going to see probably likely come to market is a dual share class. So that means that there's a pooling of assets, and that should allow for an investor to move seamlessly from a mutual fund to an ETF with kind of no tax consequences. And so this is something that Vanguard has had a patent on, and so they've been the only exclusive users of this dual share class on their passive index mutual funds and ETFs. That patent expired 2 years ago, and now it's been this long waiting game of a bunch of other asset managers filing with the SEC for exemption and the ability to also create a dual share class.
So why do we think that we're getting closer to it actually happening?
Yeah, so at the end of September, the SEC gave notice, and that's kind of them preempting the fact that they've said dimensional fund advisors, we're taking a look at your application, we're going to review it, and then that triggers a 14, 15-day period before we are supposed to receive kind of approval from SEC.
Okay, so the government shutdown's happening. Does that mean it might be more like a 30-day period or whatever it might be because of that?
It's been a bit of a moving target right now, but the reality is that that window has since passed, and we think it could really be imminent at any day now.
And when that happens, what does that mean for investors, right? You know, as I said, we've already seen the migration, a big migration to ETFs. Does it sort of cement that if it's easier to make that migration?
Absolutely, and we think it's actually, if anything, going to really accelerate the movement into ETFs. I mean, it's not hard to imagine a world where the number of ETFs in the US doubles and that the ETF AUM also doubles alongside of that. So right now there's over 4,000 ETFs. That number could be 8,000, 10,000.
Wow.
And so we really expect this to really kickstart even more growth.
Now, remind people who are watching, if I'm trying to choose between a mutual fund and an ETF, what the advantages are for each.
There's a lot that we know and love and we talk about in the ETF space. Of course, they're typically lower cost. They're lower cost even for the asset managers to operate. There are some efficiencies there, and typically those can be passed on to the end investor. There's, of course, the intraday liquidity, allowing an investor to buy and sell right during market hours. There's transparency, so the investor understands and knows exactly what the ETF is holding. And then, of course, the big piece here is the tax efficiency of an ETF. Because market makers can interact and we're out there and we can create and redeem ETFs in kind, this mechanism provides a bit of a tax efficiency. We don't have to crystallize capital gains immediately. And so this makes ETF a preferred vehicle for most investors now.
Interesting. All right. Go ahead and refresh.
I mean, always.
See if we have any new latest news. Okay, Kimberly Clark buying Tylenol maker Kenvu in a $48.7 billion deal. That is KMB and Kenvu. So Tylenol maker, we know there's been quite a secondary look at Tylenol this year, especially with them coming out with some it wouldn't be allegations, but some side effects of Tylenol that may not be um to the best outcome of the consumer. You know what I mean? So yeah, we've seen that, but they're trying to buy this company that makes Tylenol. So interesting. And that's KBM or KMB. Let me go look at their charts here. KMB and KVU. Okay. So let's go look through some charting, see if they're sucking up any type of. So for now, Irene, this large cap is sucking up volume. It's got almost 6 million shares traded. And then KVU up 18% as well. Bunched from 14 all the way up here to 19 and kind of going a little flat there around the 17s. But let's go look at the overall daily charts here. And we'll start with Irene. So Irene closed yesterday at $60 or not yesterday, Friday, $60.75 and had a high up here of 74.15. It is currently trading at 74.41. So it did break this level, but it broke quite a bit over this to 78. 78.88 was the high up here. So definitely a lot of eyes on this one. We'll see if this one ends up sucking up the volume on the day. And let's go to the next one, KVU. Okay, so KVU closed up Friday 14.37. It is currently up to 17.16. Was the is where it's trading right now, but it went up to a high of 19.35 up here. So that is some major movement. It looks like it was in a downtrend. The company that is buying KVU is down 15% though. So this one closed at 119.71 on Friday, and now it's trading at $100. So dropped almost $20 per share on this one. Look at this. Look at this 1 minute chart from Friday. Huge drop there for anybody that was anticipating it to go up because it was buying Tylenol or whatnot, that company. Yeah, they got smoked. So that is not great. So that means, I mean, that kind of leaves a bearish sentiment on KVU with the company that's buying them dropping 15%. It's like, okay, something is awry there. All right, let's go back to those are the ones that are sucking. I'm really looking for the large caps that are sucking up a bunch of volume. And these three, Irene, KVU, and Nvidia, are the ones that are doing that right now. All the other ones haven't even reached 1 million shares traded, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm looking for large caps that are getting quite a bit of pre-market volume to overshadow small caps. Speaking of small caps, let's go back and look through the list real quick. So we had MSPR up here, still leading the day with 139%, kind of walking down the ladder. EZGO went up to 25 cents, came back down to 17. LGCL, Chinese stock software application, founded in 2011, not looking the hottest. SHPH, this was a breast cancer type stock out of Gaithersburg, Maryland, founded in 2012. Don't know what that can do. SMX went all the way back down. It was up quite a bit, but has lost it all. Went up there to 375s and fell back down. And yeah, so let's jump back over. Maybe something else will pop up that will be interesting. Go back over and continue my market research. We've already seen that one. Let's Silver, AI growth depreciated, mutual funds, Amazon. Okay, let's go to Amazon. Actually, let's just go here. Video. Okay. Good morning, Donnell. So we already did ETFs.
Samina, always good to see you. So wrapping up a big week. Let's start with the big tech earnings, because you saw the reports, Simeon, you were listening to those calls. Tech has been leading this market. Would you expect that to continue?
Look, the earnings were very well received, all but one. Everybody knows Meta was the one that wasn't well received. Let's just look at the season so far. We're about 2/3 of the way through earnings season. S&P 500 earnings up year over year about 10%. Tech sector up about 20%. Now, I don't think there's anywhere else we can look to get the equity market rally to sustain, but that's pretty good. That should be enough to keep things going, particularly at this time of year, because we know what folks do towards the end of the year. They want to get those Mag 7 names in the portfolio, in those statements, so when clients and asset managers look them up, they say, oh yeah, that was in there.
Let me ask you, if tech did cool, Simeon, do you look around and say, okay, there's certain sectors that would be well positioned to play catch up?
Look, almost everything else is positioned for catch-up. The funny thing that I find these days is that folks will look to other parts of the market and say it's at a discount to the S&P 500. Well, that's tautological, because the tech sector is so expensive that it's pushed up valuations for the S&P 500, so everything on a relative basis looks like it's cheap. So it's good to look a little bit past that to see what's actually cheap relative to its own history, but there are clearly opportunities. Certainly, we like some of the cyclical places where the value sectors and really quality value, like dividend growth stocks that have been left far behind, but there's almost anything that's been left behind in this rally is open to participation, very importantly because quality overall is pretty good. Net debt to EBITDA for the S&P 500 is at 1.5 times. That is all-time low. So we can talk about cockroaches and private credit, but the quality of all the large cap stocks, including the 493, is pretty high. So the opportunity for rotation across the board is a decent one.
You've been watching these big tech earnings roll in, listening to conference calls. What are some of your big takeaways, Rich? What have you learned?
So, Josh, I think the biggest thing with some of these companies that garner so much attention is not whether their businesses are doing well or not. The question is, are their businesses uniquely performing well? That's the issue. There are a lot of companies in the United States, a lot of companies around the world that are growing as fast, if not faster, and nobody cares. And I think that's the speculative element that people should be thinking about, is the amount of attention focused on this very small group of companies when you have lots of other companies that are growing as fast, if not faster.
Let me ask you, Rich, we were watching these earnings prints for a lot of reasons. One reason, though, we were looking for greater line of sight into that great AI trade and trend. And, Rich, this has been a question that's been out there. It's been asked. Smart people have different opinions. AI boom or AI bubble? I'm sure your clients might be asking, Rich, what are you telling them?
So what we're telling them, Josh, is that we have to separate the economic story from the investment story. And I think people have a very tough time separating those two out. The economic story is, will AI change the economy? And the answer to that is, of course it will. I mean, why would anybody argue otherwise? But let's remember that technology always changes the economy. The internet changed the economy, right? The automobile changed the economy. My personal favorite, the light bulb, changed the economy. A massive productivity enhancing technology at the time because it turned the economy to a 24-hour economy, right? Can't have a graveyard shift in the dark. We don't even consider it technology anymore, but it was a massive productivity enhancing technology at the time. So will AI change the economy? Of course it will, but that's always true that technology changes the economy. The investment story, though, is one of how much capital is chasing AI, and long-term investment themes, the success of long-term investment themes are always based on the supply and demand of capital. You want to think like the one banker in a town with 1,000 borrowers. So the question we should all be asking is AI starved for capital? I think everybody would say there's no way that AI is starved for capital. So I think it's going to turn out that overcapitalization of the story makes it spread through the economy very rapidly, maybe more rapidly than it otherwise would have, but it also hurts the long-term investment story.
Mira, did you hear anything today in the presser that caused you to change how you think about advising clients about where to put money to work, where the opportunities are, what to avoid?
I think that we have to consider the market fundamentals as opposed to some of the assessment of the Committee of the Economy. I think we're all looking at the same data and looking at things pretty similarly. There's no risk-free path here. There's a good case to stay where we are in terms of rates, good case to cut. But when we think about what's going on in the markets themselves, we certainly want to be mindful that there is this everything rally going on, but we don't need to rally behind everything. We need to make sure we're still geared towards quality. We need to make sure we're still managing concentration risk and some of the valuation risks within portfolios, and maybe AI-proofing our portfolios to some extent. We've seen the AI trade move from just concentrated innovators in AI to some of the AI enablers in industrials and utilities. And the next phase is the AI adopters. Let's see how strong that adoption does come through, and in particular that paid adoption. But let's also think about trades outside of the AI complex. Things like financials. We go back to earnings season and we see that financials are going to contribute about 44% of the overall growth in earnings of the S&P 500. So that's where you're getting your earnings growth outside of tech, unrelated to AI. Think about making sure you have some balance in your portfolio across different areas that could continue to have some legs.
It was interesting because the AI trade and trend came up, right? And he was asked about that, and it was interesting how Powell talked about it's different, he said, than the dot-com era. He emphasized that. He said how these companies have earnings. It does come, though, as there have been some high-profile investors who have thrown some caution flags. Some have even said they hear echoes of the dot-com.
Well, as it relates to monetary policy specifically, I think that Chair Powell is certainly right in the fact that these are not really interest rate sensitive deals, because a lot of that CapEx that's being spent is not because rates are low and companies are levering up. It's that they're spending the cash that they have. They are generating revenue to fuel future investment. And some of it is really coming from the idea that these stocks continue to go up. So you think about the equity component that's really funding a lot of this CapEx. So I do agree with Powell that the interest rate component of all of this is not as relevant to some of this AI spending and CapEx, which really brings us back to what we were talking about earlier and an hour ago in terms of the fact that a lot of the challenges, whether it's the potential bubble within the equity market or within the economy, if it's any weakness in the jobs market or the housing market, is not actually all that interest rate sensitive.
Okay. All right. Get back over to the normal.
That Chipotle quarter.
All right, so still looking for new small caps to pop. Yeah. Last month went pretty good. I was able to recoup some of my loss from that $80 loss on Monday, made like $50 or something on Friday. So, it was the only red week of the month, and it was down $32, so that was nothing. Everything else, I was nice and green on the month, and we're starting into this new month, November, pressing forward, doing our due diligence, understanding what's going on in the market before we just start slinging money. you know. All right. Really want to see this one go ahead and give up the ghost. It's up. It's still up 154%. 136 million shares traded. And I'm really wondering, is the rest of the volume during the open going to shift to some of these larger caps like Irene that we looked at over here and KVU, but I'm not sure if KVU is going to be able to continue because the stock that's buying them has went down so much. All right, SDST gave back everything. So that one taken off of there. But anyway, if you guys are seeing anything that is popping sporadically, let us know. You know, my pre-market focus is definitely on low floats. And then during intraday, and a lot of my trades have been low floats actually, to be honest. Even during intraday, I'm like, okay, what are the low floats doing? Where can I make this quick 30 cents, right? So even my intraday has been low floats. I was doing some trading on higher floats, but the thing is they're so choppy. And with low floats, at least if they get going in a direction, they have a tendency to continue much more, not sporadically, but more exponentially. So a pivot on a low float could be like really wild and you could take profit and be done for the day. Whereas with a higher float, a pivot may take some time, may come down and really just grind out. But a low float, even on low volume, a pivot can be quite crazy. Hebrew says my only luck has been in NASDAQ and S&P 500 stocks. Stocks has looked like garbage. Yeah. Yeah, the stocks have been kind of crazy. I've taken, you know, I've traded Donnell's been me and Donnell would go back and forth on the small caps, and some of the small caps I'm on. He's like, nah, that thing ain't got no volume. That thing, but it's meeting the criteria that I'm looking for very closely as far as range and price and all of that, and it ends up working out. So it's like, you know, what I'm looking for is the idea to be something that has recently been discussed, like soybeans or agriculture or AI. I'm looking for something that's close to what has been discussed, and then I'm trying to buy areas that that pivots can happen, right? And looking for some confirmation. So the same thing I do during pre-market, looking for those different ideas to form and break. Same thing I do during the intraday. It's no change. Hmm. US allows Microsoft to ship NVIDIA AI chips to use in UAE for the first time. Let's see how that's gonna affect old Microsoft here. Are they gonna start getting a flood of the influx of movement or not? Let me zoom back. Let me go to the 15 minute. 15 minute. Okay, so basically they just got this news. We'll see. I mean, US just did this what 11 minutes ago. And let's see, it started moving. This is 6 o'clock. 630. So we'll see if it starts to break back upward on Microsoft, if it starts to really absorb some volume. But right now, all eyes are on Irene and KBOO. Man, can we get some more small? Oh, another small cap just popped up. PHIO for small caps. This one hit a high up here around 296. Let me go and profile it. So PHIO up 42%. PHIO came from $2, right around $2 up here to 290s. All right, on the profile, give me my profile. On the profile, we're seeing PHIO Pharmaceuticals, a clinical stage biotechnology company, engages in the development of immuno-oncology. This is another cancer type. Immuno-oncology therapeutics in the U.S. The company is developing a instatil, I don't even know, whatever that word is, compound to reduce the expression of cell death protein, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so another tumors and cancers and all of that good stuff. So this one was found, or it changed its name. So the company was formerly known as RX I Pharmaceuticals Corporation and changed its name to PHIO Pharmaceuticals in November 2018. It was incorporated in 2011 and it's based in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Okay. So that one is coming on up. It has now crossed over the 1 million mark in volume. Hit a high up there of 313. Let's go look at the daily chart for this one. So closed at 205 and is all the way up here to 313 somewhere in here. Had a spike out here to 349. Edits. And this is going to be a peak on the daily. Peak daily level. It looks like I had an old one up there. Let me take that off. So that's the most recent peak daily level that we got, is at 350-ish level. And it's back to 281 right now. So we're going to see how this competition pumps up. Let me go ahead and go back over to my watch list real quick. So watch list, this is what I'm looking at. Watch list here. All right, so this is what I'm seeing on my watch list. MSPR still leading the way with 160% with all of that volume, just absolutely absorbing it. Then PHIO going down, down. LGCL, EZGO. Hopefully something ends up holding up here. It is what it is. It is Monday morning. This is the first trading day of the month. So, you know, it's one of those, get a cushion on the month, get a cushion built up, and play defense until you have that cushion. Okay, let me jump back over to this and this. And I forgot I was still on the 15-minute. That's why it's looking like that. The 1 minute is what we want to be looking at. So, yeah, hit a high up here of 313s. And definitely has a lot of work to do to compete with all of these other ones. We're pushing back up there to the body of these candles here at the 3, right at the 3 flat, really. Where it's coming up to. We'll see if it gets sold off here or what. So basically, when it comes to technical analysis, I'm looking for ideas to form and ideas to break, right? I do want to be buying low for the most part, but I'm looking for pretty much any of these ideas to form. So let's say here on PHIO, I'll go to the top, go to this outlier at 313, and I'll say, okay, what is inside of this range? And what's inside of this range is right around here at the $3 level. But I don't know if it's going to stop there. And so, yeah, it just absolutely went all the way up there through that level so that this qualifies this. And now this is a new outlier, right? So I start from this outlier and start looking for ideas of uptrends or downtrends. So that was a very quick little break of 313 up there to 320 and a snatch down, right? So from there, I wouldn't be caught in that because I haven't seen structure built yet. So I'm looking for structure first and then playing off of their structure. And this will be our new outlier out here at the 320s. Let's see. SPH. Nothing else is really looking as hot as that one. So I'll probably stick to PHIO just to show y'all, for example, what I end up looking for during the day. If it even gives us structure, it's kind of just going down right now. The bottom side of this is what, 250. So yeah. Quite a bit of ways away from that top little breakout there. So somebody really lost a good amount of money buying this breakout if they were playing breakouts from 314 all the way down here to 262. And when I was first starting off, I was like, okay, well, maybe I just add down here. Maybe I just add down here. Well, the problem is if you're this wrong, it's already on a small cap. It's like, man, you never know how long this thing's going to stay going down. So it's like, you could just get out and retry. If you don't have the capital, too bad. Just get out and you're done for the day. If you're in a cash account, it's over with. Because some of these are just not forgiving. They'll come up here and let's see, will it even, 314? What's the probability of it getting back up there? We don't even know. But what we do know is we're seeing what? Wicks. Wicks on the top side, wicks on the bottom side. So this is starting to look like a little bit of indecision around here. And I would definitely not ignore wicks, especially wicks to the downside. I'm looking for breaks of the 250, breaks of some of these little outliers, but I don't know if it can get back up there to the 320s as of now. All right, back up here to MSPR, another cheap one. Ramping up here. Good morning, One Life. Happy Monday. Supply versus demand. Yep. Supply versus demand, man. The problem is a lot of times we jump in before we even realize that it's in a supply area or in a demand area. We just be like, oh yeah, I like this dip. Okay, but that dip has to coincide with other information. It's like, is that a dip? Or is that the start of a further move down? But yeah, MSPR, 142 million shares traded. Top side was up here at 87 cents and had a previous high here at 66 cents. So this outlier here, what is this? 87 something. 87 cents. That'll be one idea. One idea, but we have an idea inside of the idea, which can always get broken. But this is a little cheaper one. So, I'm looking for that 30-cent winner, and I just don't think PR can give me 30 cents. Looking at where it started, 23 cents up to 87 cents. That first move was what a lot of people call the cleanest move, but I think this is the lure. This is the lure for retail. So this first move says, hey, this thing went from 23 cents up here to 87 cents. I think I can get one of those too. And the truth of the matter is, that probability is very low for you to get a clean move like this on a stock like this. It came back down and kind of sold off for a minute and gave another lure move. But this lure move was from $39, or not $39, 39 cents up to 66 cents. So this was right around 20 cents in comparison to the first lure that they put out, which was 23 all the way up to just about 90. So about 70 cents. So almost half of the lure that they put out the last time. And now we have this downtrend inside of a downtrend. We'll see if it continues to hold it down. It does have room if it starts to break down to come on down, but it does have a lot of people still trading it. So not sure. Back over to PHIO. Again, what are we seeing? More wicks. So now are we going to get our first structural build, or is it going to continue to do those random pops and break highs? Yep, there's another rando. Broke high, pull back. Let's see how far it pulls back here. So again, no structure right now. The only structural ideal is all the way down here. What, 260s? And I'm not sure what that wants to do. Again, a small little breakout. So is it going to punish the breakout buyers? Small push out. Bottom of this candle is the 323s. Because the first time it definitely punished them. And think about the emotional response of people that lost on this first breakout, right? So they had this breakout, they got slammed on. And now all of a sudden, you know those stories, oh, it came and stopped me out and then it went to the moon. This is that type of thing. It doesn't have any structure or any of that. It's just, you know, tagging people, taking them, you know, abusing retail basically. So now this is the new outlier, and I wait for structure to form here. Now, where in my head, where does it have room to go down to? All the way back down here to 250. Unless structure starts to build above this idea. I'm like, yep, got room all the way back down here. Let's see if it can hold up. Danielle got him a piece on PHIO. So there was a high at 360 and then a little bit lower level there at the 363s. People be like, why you focus on the low floats? It's like, because they're the things that kind of move. They'll pay you. Now, you know, this one, PHIO, is a little bit out of scope for me, but it's in Donnell scope. So I know I'm looking in the right place for the small caps. I'm not looking at penny stocks, like the pennies. And this one is moving quite a bit. So move from 250 up there to almost 350. And now we have a new outlier here at the 377s, and we'll see where it wants to drop down. It definitely punished them on that first one, though. And I bet the shorts got caught off guard with this little move here as well. Still up 67%. Point of control down here at 290s. 290s to 333. We'll see if we actually start to see some structure start to form here. Okay. Oh, wow. Definitely punt a little bitty breakout there at the 378s. That's not really a double top. Let's see if it continues to push. All right, so new outlier, still no structure, but still has room down here to this previous idea. But those folks that missed this breakout, they tried this one up here and they are getting cracked in the mouth. Top side, or maybe they're not. Maybe they're just holding. I don't know. Let's see, how much of a breakout was this? 384 up to 387. So about a 3-cent breakout there. $19 million shares traded on this one. Got a long way to come on down. Point of control has not moved yet. $350s. So how long did it take to make 30 cents on this breakout? So 322 up to 333, that's about 10 cents. Then it came down a little bit. So 322 back up to 360s. So that's about that 30-cent mark. Boy, is that what we're doing right now? So we got our outlier at 387. We got another false breakout on a lower high. Let's see if it starts to hold this one down. First little idea of structure here. We'll see if it can form a new downtrend inside of this downtrend. It's coming down to the 350s. It's got room all the way down here to, what is this, 266 right now? See how that goes. Still up 71%, sitting on that 350 level. MSPR continued downward. So this one was a downtrend inside of a bigger downtrend, losing its little lifeline as PHIO kind of stole the show from it for a little bit. Now the short's back on board. Let's see if we can get a new upwards idea here. Not yet though. Coming down around this 360 level, 336. A lot of big numbers over here on the level 2s. Still up 66%. Okay, so quite a bit of a drop in here. Dropping back to that 322 level where it originally started. Started that breakout. 316. About to close this candle in 5 seconds. Okay, closing underneath this original little breakout level of the 320s. And let's see if it continues to struggle. The 315 is that kind of bounce point that it just got. Point of control has moved up to 343. On the 5 minute is 335, and on the 15 minute is 314. So let's go ahead and get our box out there for this thing to trade against. Got 343 down to 314 is the box right now. And these, what I just did was based on the points of control from the 5 and the 15 minute as well over here. So 5 minute 335, and I just take I take the top and bottom, whatever the highest is, whatever the lowest is, and just make the box, because whatever's in the middle will be in there anyway. So now we have a bottom down here of 308, right around that whole dollar level. Trading on the bottom side of this box. The top side is at the 345s. With 25 million shares traded. Jump back over here to MSPR. Okay, so we got a couple of just kind of moving slow at this point. Way less attraction. We have somewhat of an upwards idea. Whoops, wrong thing. Somewhat of an upwards idea here. See if it crashes this out, because it's kind of steep. But that box should be a problem for it. Tapping the top of the box, should have shorts attacking here. About to let's see, closing this candle in about 30 seconds. Try to get out of the box, and shorts are tapping it. So to break down this idea, it would just need to snap 320s. Snap back down under 320s. See if that box can hold it down. Little double top there. Will it break down the idea, and will that idea become some type of resistance? Tapping the idea there. Opening up new candle right on that idea. Let's see if it starts to spread downwards. Okay. So not able to escape the box to the top side. Let's see what the downside looks like. Bottom side, let's see. Right here, 315, but now on the 15 minute it says 306. I'm not sure. It may have a little fall point to 306, but I'm not sure. I might extend it down there. We'll see. Yeah, let me just go ahead and do that. 15 minutes at 306, 5 minutes at 335, and the other one is at 336. So 15 minute 306, somewhere up in here. So got under that original idea. We have a new idea forming here. We'll see how this holds as it gets less and less steep. And we'll see if this other idea up here becomes some type of resistance at the 340s, 338s. Still looking for more to pop. Looks like MSPR still getting up and going with 205 million shares traded, breaking out of this level here of this previous downtrend, up 3 cents. That is insane. 100 million shares to move at 3 cents. But still leading the day in volume. And if the majority of the attention is going over there, I think PHIO is going to get killed here. So now we're seeing it test that top side, that first original idea there. We'll see if it breaks it back down, if it gets pushed back into the box. Yep, getting pushed right back into the box. Right back into the box, big boy. 15 seconds left. RexCon, you said, how do you add future? Let me look over here in Discord real quick. So it pushed it back into the box here off of the original upwards idea. Let me see where we at. RexCon right here. Okay, this study includes showing future bars in purple. How you add future bars to a regular moving average exponential like the 20 EMA. Yeah, well, that's gonna take some mathematics there to add future bars to that. You're gonna have to, I mean, that's almost like knowing the future, mathematically knowing the future. But the problem is, if you're wrong, I don't know. That seems like, I mean, there's plenty of mathematicians and things like that that have tried to figure out stuff like that, where they've tried to future cast bars and stuff like that. But it's just like, I mean, if NASA can't do it, if all of these mathematicians can't do it, you know, I don't know. I'd rather see where something is and kind of play off of that. Once a fact is set in place, once a candle stops moving, it is a fact, right? But as long as it's moving or it's not even there, predicting that is mathematically, it just doesn't make sense. It's probably a waste of time to try to mathematically predict that, because nobody has done that before. Now, I mean, think about it. We have all these advancements of AI, we have all these advancements of all this stuff, but predicting market flow, I mean, if you could do that, that's like NASA level. You might as well just go on to build a spaceship. Just go on to another planet, right? PHIO broke back over this original idea out of the box. Box did not hold it down, so we got a new upwards idea here. And it broke out of the highs there, very unexpectedly like. Let me draw this right. And there, and expand. But yeah, doing that mathematics is probably going to waste the majority of your life, to be honest. Seriously. So let me ask you this: on the study that you're using in on that, how accurate is it? Have you had a test sample of like 1,000 trades or 1,000 observations where it's actually worked? And how um usable, well, what's the sample size, and like what is the percentage of correctness or the win rate of it that you, since you've been using it? What's your sample size that you've taken? Because that would be the next question. You took 1,000 sample and it's 80% correct. Hey, well, and it works in small caps, or does it? Have you been? Has the majority of yours been in small caps, mid caps, large caps? What is the 1,000 into? Large, mainly in ETFs. Yeah, we need. I don't know. I would definitely try to get some more samples in. Well, if you're doing it in ETFs and it's 80% in ETFs, I mean, you just got to collect the data for everything else. So we got another outlier here at 409. This thing just continues to be kind of like a wild bull up here, but we'll see. See 337. So the point of control did pop back up on the 15-minute. So now we have, let me clear this. Actually, I'm not gonna clear it yet. It's so on the 15-minute it's at 329, 5 minutes at 335, and then on the 1 minute it's at 337. So that's a new box. Let me draw that out here. So 337 is the highest point. 337 is all the way down in here, down to 329. That is not that much space at all. Okay. 329. So it's a very thin little layer there that is really supporting it. We got our outlier, but this outlier may be wrong. We redraw the outlier here, and then we'll do a little bit of clean. Didn't mean to do that. Then we'll do a little bit of cleanup here. The PHIO top side was 309. Try our next idea here. This idea got disproven, so I'll clean that up. Remove. We still have these upward levels here. And this one's kind of not looking right. All right, so we'll see how it plays above the box again. Had this previous uptrend, which it found as resistance once again up here. And now that's following or flowing into the next downtrend. We'll see if it continues to play upwards. If it does end up breaking back down, 350s, then I can clean this little uptrend up. But it's liking to hold here. $37 million shares traded on this one. Found this as resistance, and all we need to see is a breakdown of 340s, 350 level back into the box. Will we get anything over $5 that's moving with some range? I don't know. I haven't seen anything that's even trying to keep up. MSPR has 218 million shares traded, PHIO 37 million, EZGO 114 million shares traded. And all of them are out of scope for me. All right, so let's see if it fails back under here and we can clean up these this top side. 350s look like it's about to get a hard test. point of control at 372. So 372 down here to 279 now. So remove this. 372. Down here to 329. 329 here. So it hasn't broken this down yet, so I can't give up on this top level. It could randomly pop back up there like we've seen before. But if it starts to break down 340s, 350s, I'm going to remove this one. Do a little cleanup. Again, you think the math is already done in the study I attached, cover future bar script part out of the study I attached, and add just a part to a regular EMA, like a 20 EMA. Add just that part to a regular 20 EMA. This study includes. So basically, so I'm trying to figure out what variable are you attaching this to, because the 20 EMA has several variables to calculate the EMA, the moving average. Are you? I mean, there's different points on the bar. You know, you got the high, low, close, open. You got several. What variable will this calculation be on? Is it the close, the open, the it needs to be attached to a variable to calculate, right? Or is it using those variables in that? Is it using the high, low, whatever in the thing in the script? I'll have to look at it. I mean, I'll see what it's doing, but I don't know. I don't know if it's worth my time, to be honest. To be honest, but yeah. We shall see. I'll look at the code and see what if it has clear variables, but if it's got like convoluted stuff, that's all right. PHIO. Again, testing the top side where that point of control is on the 1 minute. But if it has convoluted variables that are maybe like functions inside of functions and things like that, it's going to get quite sticky. And it may not be worth the overhaul. And are you planning on using this in all charting? Are you planning on using this in small and small caps, mid caps, and large caps? Are you only going to focus on ETFs for this? All right, so yeah, we're gonna break down just large. Oh, well, if you're just using it in large ETFs, why not use it as is? If that's where your 80% is, why change it? Like if it's already 80% accurate, you took 1,000 sample size, it's 80% accurate. Why add it to a 20 EMA? Why not just use the regular 20 EMA to see how that study functions with it? So when it plots the 20, you can see two different lines. So you can see it and a 20 EMA on a large ETF and see if they're lining up, if it's above, low, on it. Like why put it on a 20 EMA is what I'm trying to figure out. Man, this thing will not fail, will it? It needs to be shot in the foot. I don't know if anything else is gonna come up with all this volume being sucked out. KVU, the one that's getting bought, basically it functions to manufacture Tylenol. KMB is the thing that bought it out, but KMB is down quite a bit. We're looking at that earlier. The KVU is up 18%. It is definitely a large cap, with 12 million shares traded on it in pre-market. Insanity. Exactly. That's what I was thinking one life. I'm like, why conjugate them when, like, let's say your 20 EMA is messing the script up, right? If it's 80% accurate, why mess with the script? Why, 80% is pretty high for any type of indicator. So I'm like, wait a minute, let's not touch that. Let's leave that gold mine over there by itself. And let's see if I can use a 20 EMA, if it makes sense to use a 20 EMA to do this. Because 80%, you can easily mess that up. That seems like just a couple ticks to the left or right, and you'll be losing. Okay. Well, it is coming into the 7:30-ish bell time. I'll look through the script to see what it looks like, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll continue to consider the look there. Tylenol on the front page now. So Kimberly Clark to buy Tylenol maker Kenvu in a $48.7 billion deal. Billion. Then RexCon says the current study has the 4 and the 5 Wilders embedded in it. Oh. But so the 4 and the 5 Wilders is, you want to change that? You want to take the 4 and 5 Wilders out? How would that affect your win rate though? If you take that out or if you adjust those? But yeah, Kimberly Clark, Tylenol, man, I'm wondering, I don't know. I know they had a little bit of bad press, and people they have been on the shelves though. I have seen them just sitting on the shelves. People have started using ibuprofen instead of Tylenol, but the problem is, ibuprofen is usually for body pains and reducing swelling. Tylenol is specifically usually used. Now they've been used in tandem for headache and body pain, but Tylenol is usually headaches, and not so much inflammation and swelling and things like that. So I don't know how Tylenol is gonna do, man. I just have seen it sitting on the shelves when I go to Kroger or any kind of place like that. People kind of avoid it like roaches now. When roaches find out that it's a trap, they're like, maybe not roaches, maybe rats. Roaches, they don't care. They're like, oh, this is a trap. Let me just still take a little nibble. Let me just take a little nibble. But yeah, rats would be a better example of that. Okay, so PHIO just really slowing down. It's out of scope for me anyway. It's gonna have to get over $5. Let's see. SD, whatever is still under. APLM, trash. Okay, so if the majority of the focus is gonna be on this whole Tylenol deal, I'm just gonna be waiting. We did have a couple of other biopharmaceutical cancer related things up today, and I'm just not sure if they're gonna play on Tylenol like that. I don't know if Tylenol is actually causing any kind of okay, I'm not even gonna say that word. Any cancerous type effects in people. So I'm not sure about any of that. I haven't really researched it super hard because I don't really use Tylenol ever or ibuprofen. I kind of just if I'm inflamed, I'll find some kind of natural remedy to sip on or some herbs or something. Lot safer, man. Lot less ingredients. Let me see. You'd also have wait. Let me read what One Life saying. Billions. Then he says, now here's my question. If you're using this on ETFs, have you tested to see if holding it long term, like for instance years, would be more profitable? And then he says, because you also have drip and the growth. True. That is true. And like I said, I don't know, the sample size is 1,000 shares, but is it 1,000 day trades on ETFs? What is like One Life is saying, what's the time frame that these 1,000 trades have been on? Is these swing trades? Were these options plays? Were these like what volatility level in time zone, or not time zone, time frame, or whatever was it playing on? Day trades, 5 to 20 minutes. Okay, 5 to 20 minutes on day trades. Short term. So you making that money on ETFs quick. You like hold the ETF for what? All right, so PHIO coming back up here. It is 7:32. I need to go ahead and jump on down. PHIO is still playing up here and holding this previous level. Throwing some wicks up here once again. Got a new outlier, but the outlier is below the previous level. So we'll see. These have been some random pops through the highs for sure. So has definitely been some muddy water here. If it breaks that 409, it'll have a new outlier out here. And it's going to break it. Went up there almost to it, but could not quite get it. There it is. All right. Disqualified on this one. Another breakout, 411 up here to 427s, and it still has this top level up here, room down, plenty of, it's just got so much going on. And it's actually moved up to the 350. So 350 is the bottom of the point of controls now. So I'm remove these previous boxes, and now we have from the 373 down to the 350 is our box now. And it's been holding majority of all of these little uptrends that it's had. It still has room down here to the 3, or not even the 3. What is this? Like right at the 3 flat if it wants to do a hard drop, but it just continues to kind of pile up and break. So no real significant dips before a harsh move up. It's just been kind of trending upward. But we got a new outlier up there at 437s. And back under this level of 380s, it's going to be, I'm going to clean up this other uptrend up here because it's kind of getting away from it. But yeah, day trades 5 to 20 minutes on that, on those 1,000. I don't even know if I would change that, to be honest. With that, for that time frame to be 80% accurate, that will be a very hard justify. You would have to justify to yourself why you would want to change that. Because for that time, like, bro, that's 5 or 20 minutes a day. You find the right setup and you are in the game. Or you could take like a couple trades a day, like 5 trades a day. If you are wrong on 3 of them, well, then maybe this is an off day. But, overall, man, that would be a monstrous thing to do to mesh. Oh, another one popping up, BDRX. BDRX is up now. What is this? 40%. It is over $5. Let me see what the news is on it. On BDRX, and then I'm gonna get ready to close this down because I gotta get ready for this meeting. All right, let's see BDRX. What you got going on up here? Up 42%. You got a lot of competition on the board, and it is definitely in scope above $5. Let's see what you got here, big boy. So on the profile, it said, wait, the profile. Okay, Biodexa, we've seen this one before. This is a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company, focuses on developing a pipeline of products for the treatment of familial adenomatous, whatever, non-muscle invasive, whatever, to blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is a lot. So basically, is this cancer as well? Type 1 diabetes is in here. Bladder cancer, so it does have cancer in there. Let me go ahead and notate this. So we got type 1 diabetes. Or no, first it named bladder cancer. Then it's got type 1 diabetes. Then we have, what else? We have studies, type 1 diabetes, type 1, whatever that is. Boom. Liquid directly, locally on tumors. It's got tumors in there. A gold nanoparticle disease. Okay, the company was formerly known as Tech Pharma PLC and changed its name to Biodexa Pharmaceuticals in 2023. So name change in 2023. And then let's see. This one is out of the United Kingdom. So March 2023. Biodexa Pharmaceuticals PLC was founded in 2000. Is headquartered in Cardiff, the United Kingdom. So let's go ahead, change in March 2023. Out of Cardiff, United Kingdoms. Okay. So there's my notations. So I did my due diligence, found something that is above $5, but is it going to be able to hold against these other things? I don't know. Today it says for the catalyst, it says Biodexa announces approval of CTA in Europe, a phase 3 Sorrento trial in FAP, first European patent expected to be enrolled in fourth quarter 2025. Addressable US European market put at $7 billion. Okay. So fourth quarter 2025, that's like right now. Addressable US European market put $7 billion. Okay, are they talking any other money? No. All right, well, I'll see how that folds out. It's actually meeting most of the criteria that I have. So we'll watch it during the intraday. If these other things want to start to fade off and this ends up holding up, I'll definitely be looking at this. On the 15-minute, 5-minute, it does have quite a bit of wicks out there, which is okay. Now it's actually looking a little bit better on formation. Let's go ahead and look at the ideas here. Oh, it's about to be 7:40. All right, I got to get out of here. But I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on this one. Maybe it'll be today, maybe it'll be tomorrow. We'll see. But we had a couple of cancer, oncology, tumor type stocks up today, and we'll see how that works out with things like KVU and the whole Tylenol thing and all of that. So just watching. But I'm looking for my 30 cents, man. Looking for my 30 cents. That's it. Anyway, I'm about to jump off of here. I think we've looked over everything today. It's just now hitting 1 million shares traded on BDRX. And yeah, see if I can start the month off with a little bit of cushion. Let's look at the daily chart real quick before we jump though. So the daily chart, it closed Friday at 633. It has a peak up here at $12. So let me get rid of this one. Apparently we've looked at it before. Let's go back. So it had a peak up here of $12. And let's go ahead and edit peak daily. And we'll see daily level. And we'll see how that does on this lower volume in this idea. How far does it want to go down? And can it start to break out of this idea? We have about an hour and 20 minutes until the open. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking at this one. It's actually giving some range that I kind of like. PHIO though, again, hasn't made it to $5, but continues to grind higher. So no cleanup on that. 56 million shares traded on PHIO. What is those points of controls looking like now? So the points of control have moved. Is this up or down? 348 up to 371. So still around the same spot. It hasn't really moved. And when you can see the volume, the majority of the volume came right here, 370s. And yeah, not sure about that, but looking to get my cushion on, and I will update you guys in the Discord, and we'll see where we want to move. One Life was asking future bars as far as or as for so Rexcon says yes, but there is a lot more to the entire strat. It's so let's see, help me with this. However, maybe there's too much work involved. Let me just look at the script and see what's going on, because it seems like you have a nice strategy that is very effective. And just changing it could be bad. Could be bad. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to buzz off of here. BDRX going on down to the depths, but we'll see if it can kind of consolidate and maybe make another move up. But at this point, back to 23%. All right, let me get ready to jump off of here because I definitely got to get going. And as always, be careful. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your head on a swivel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Whew. So much talking.